significance of the American Civil War. Last point, we are on time. So it is extremely significant for both US and the world. The Union won the war due to their superior resources, transportation, especially railway transportation, industrial era hai, and industrial capacity. The Union's victory was also due to the leadership of President Abraham Lincoln and the military strategies of US Grant, who was the military general of the northern side, that is the Union. As I said, he ensured not only victory but the destruction of South at the huge cost to North itself. But anyway, it was a devastating, but some people say, the first modern war. Now we shall study what is modern war later. When we go to World War I, we have a topic in our history syllabus, total war kya hota hai, total war. So in that context, we have to understand कि industrialization के बाद जितने बड़े बड़े वॉर हुए हैं वो सारे मॉडर्न वॉर. We have two candidates in the world history which claim to be the first modern war. One is this one, Civil War. In Civil War, they used machine guns, they used railways, telegraph, newspapers playing huge role to garner public opinion on their civilians' opinion matter. They used submarines, they used balloons to go into other area and spy. The second candidate we have is the Crimean War of 1850s. Crimean War between the East and the West, Russia के खिलाफ जो हुआ था ब्रिटेन फ्रांस का, Crimea का. So Crimean War also you can see lots of modern elements. So Crimean War in 1850s and this in 1860s are the two elements which created the modern warfare technique altogether. ठीक है? Both were naval and army. ठीक है? Then this was a horribly costly war. दोनों तरफ से जोड़ के लगभग 6-7 लाख लोग मारे गए, 6 to 7 lakh people, and both governments took loans and printed fiat money to finance the war, collectively more than $15 billion. Hugely costly war, human side and finance side both. The South was at the end of it physically and economically devastated. घर घर उजाड़ दिए थे. Most of the war was fought in South. It lost its entire economic labor system based on which its economy used to function. Now you take the labor out, how will you function? आपके बड़े बड़े मतलब for a जमींदार you have 400 acre, करोगे क्या उसका? You have to pay now for labor. It's not easy to be sustainable. Thus, although the Union was preserved and restored, the cost in physical and moral suffering was incalculable, and some emotional wounds caused by the war still have not been healed. आज भी लोगों के दिल में दर्द है, आज भी. Now the question is, it went for social. It is a kind of a very much necessary social surgery of America as a nation, क्योंकि अंदर इतना नासुर बना था slavery का, उसको निकालना था. So slavery was finally abolished and America saw a new rebirth. We have three important amendments here, 13, 14 and 15. 13th amendment was brought by Abraham Lincoln himself, by which the slavery as a system was abolished. 14th one gave the blacks citizenship, but 14th one was found inadequate because even after getting citizenship, which by default should give you voting right, जो whites थे वो कुछ ना कुछ बहाना निकाल के उनको वोट नहीं करने देते थे. तो दे ब्रॉट 15th amendment सेपरेटली, जहाँ पे स्पेसिफिकली सबको वोटिंग राइट एडिशनल दे दिया. So 13, 14, 15 are the most important amendments which came afterwards to eradicate slavery and resist the system. But did it succeed? Successful हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? नहीं. What happened after the war is that North went for something called as reconstruction. We have destroyed South. Let us reconstruct the South. The blacks should get voting right. So for a few years, 5-7 साल के लिए South में blacks got voting rights. Blacks got elected. They got power position, offices. They became mayors. Everybody. White देखता रह गया, भौचक्का क्या चल रहा है? युद्ध तो एक बात थी, अब हमारी सारी पावर चली जाएगी. This will not be tolerated by the whites. Whites start coming back, and they come back like anything. Then they start to discriminate like anything. For example, at the end of reconstruction phase of few years, starts fight back by the whites. by 1870s, 1880s, they promulgate many laws called as Jim Crow laws. You are saying we are equal, okay, but we are separate also. आप गुलाम नहीं हो, but आप white भी नहीं हो. So what the white people did? हर जगह, स्कूल में, बस में, पार्क में, बैंक में, अस्पताल में, separation, segregation. We are equal, but we are separate. तो आपका अस्पताल अलग, हमारा अस्पताल अलग. Your bus different, our everything, every public utility, every social aspect, everything was segregated. Equal but separate. How can it be equal if you are separate? Because the amount of funds that would go, the cultural capital, social capital, economic capital with the black is very less. कम से कम 5-10 पुश्ते वो गुलाम रहे हैं. How do you expect them to be self-sustaining overnight? नहीं होंगे. So the hospital for black would be definitely in worse situation than the one for white. But बाहर बोर्ड लगेगा, Indians and dogs are not allowed. यही तो बात है. हमारे भी यही था. So equal but Jim Crow's laws actually ensured complete segregation. We see it's another version in South Africa in the 20th century in the name of apartheid. ये यहाँ पे चल रहा है पूरे साउथ के गली गली में. You have Jim Crow's laws, and even the US court said it's okay. क्योंकि इक्वलिटी तो अपने मान ली है, बस सेपरेशन इज एवरीबॉडीज राइट. आपको किसके साथ बैठ के खाना खाना है नहीं खाना है आप डिसाइड कर लो. दैट वाज द वेरी क्रक्स ऑफ वैकोम सत्याग्रह. याद है आपको वैकोम में क्या हुआ था? गांधी के खिलाफ पेरियार क्यों गए? गांधी वॉज सिटिंग इन हाउस ऑफ अ ब्राह्मण. ब्राह्मण ने कहा चलो हम अनटचेबिलिटी नहीं मानते, बट माय फादर इज सेइंग कि दलित अलग बैठेंगे ब्राह्मण अलग बैठेंगे. गांधी बोला ठीक है यार क्या दिक्कत. पेरियार गॉट एंग्री. इक्वल बट सेपरेट नहीं चलेगा, इक्वल एंड टुगेदर है, नहीं तो हम इक्वल को इक्वल मानते ही नहीं है. यही तो बात है. तो जिम क्रो लॉज. नॉट ओनली दैट, वी हैव के वेरी फेमस. कू क्लक्स क्लैन, हेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. ये आके पकड़ेंगे एंड दे स्टार्टेड समथिंग कॉल्ड एज फिजिकल वायलेंस अगेंस्ट द ब्लैक्स. ये गैंग्स होते थे, व्हाइट लोगों के गैंग्स, हाथ में हथियार लेके घूमेंगे, बंदूक और छुरा लेके, मिला ब्लैक मार दो. सो मच सो जो हम आजकल अखबार में पढ़ते हैं लिंचिंग आता कहां से? दिस के पीपल स्टार्टेड द लिंचिंग ऑफ ब्लैक्स. यू वुड नेवर नो. कोई काला जाए गली पे, वहां से निकल के ना आए, गायब बीच में मिलेंगी हड्डियां. सो दिस कू क्लक्स क्लैन बिकेम अ हेट ग्रुप of white people in south. कैसे आपको अधिकार मिलते हैं हम देखेंगे. So this thing continued, this thing persisted almost till 1950s, 1960s. Then you have civil rights movement. You have Martin Luther King coming, I have a dream. क्यों 60s में होता है? क्योंकि उसके from 1870s to 1960s we have next 80-90 years now when you have Jim Crow's law, KKK and all those things going on, lynching. So segregation. तब आती रोजा पार्क. रोजा पार्क कहती क्या है? मैं पब्लिक बस में बैठूंगी नहीं उठूंगी, मेरा अधिकार है इसी बस में जाना, मेरा भी टैक्स लगा हुआ है. रोजा पार्क becomes overnight a sensation in 1950s in America, the beginning of civil rights movement. But again, that doesn't succeed. So you have from south another backlash that has emerged in the wake of civil rights movement of 1960s and 1970s, जिसमें पुलिस पावर बढ़ गई, जिसमें यू ऑल्सो हैव फॉर एग्जाम्पल द सिंबल्स ऑफ कॉन्फेडरेट. हमारा सदन लोगों का जो झंडा था, हमारे एंथम थे, बिकॉज दिस पीपल क्लेम दे आर डिफरेंट नेशन. सो द सिंबल्स ऑफ कॉन्फेडरेट आर बिकमिंग मोर पॉपुलर नाउ. आज के दिन में भी इसलिए जॉर्ज फ्लॉयड है, इसलिए फर्ग्यूसन है. क्यों चल रहा है ये आज? इट हैज नॉट बीन रिजॉल्व. सो पॉलिटिकल राइट्स देने से प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं होते. सोशल इकोनॉमिक आने में टाइम लगता है. इंडिया में वही चल रहा है. But anyway, you should have a long-term trajectory point of view thoda sa. But point is that 13, 14, 15 amendment were passed. Then it proved not only a cultural change, it also proved an economic change. Now the North is investing huge amount of money in South to make it economically prosperous. And it was a capitalist movement due to following factors. Abolition of slavery, even Southern American states moved to industrialization. Therefore, the USA underwent a capitalist transformation as industrialization became all pervasive. It led to economic integration, protectionism. After the Civil War, USA followed the protectionist policy in favor of the industries for more than half a century. It did so at a time of World War also, exactly at a time when British are saying Indians, laissez-faire, India दरवाजे खोलो, let us import from India the raw materials and export the manufactured goods. क्यों? Because Adam Smith has said protectionism is bad, it is mercantilist. ये हम पे थोपा गया, laissez-faire, laissez-faire, दुनिया में कौन laissez-faire कर रहा है? Look at Germany at that time under a list system. बिस्मार्क के समय दरवाजे बंद, हम नहीं लेंगे आपके इंपोर्ट. Go to Japan, दरवाजे बंद, नहीं लेंगे. Go to America, नहीं लेंगे. So all the countries which industrialized have industrialized by closing the doors for some time for some products. चाइना ने यही किया, चाइना अभी भी यही कर रहा है, इंडिया नहीं करेगा. क्यों? फ्री ट्रेड इज इंपॉर्टेंट, कंपटीशन इज इंपॉर्टेंट. बट अमेरिका ने उस समय हमको पट्टी पढ़ाई, खुद के नहीं किया वैसे. So they become superpower in the world. It is not merely a coincidence that the economy of USA manifested the fastest rate of growth between 1870 to 1970. Here the abolition of the slavery worked as a major trigger. Okay, so you have the economic consequences also and socio-political consequences also. It was a very important surgery required for America to emerge. Union became strong. Is it clear? Significances, consequences are very much known.